Hi Gemini, welcome to your April reading. It is Taurus season, but this is your April reading, and then we'll get into Taurus season and into May, and then it's your season. So happy early birthday, and I'll say this in the next one as well. Happy early birthday to you Geminis out there. And I am Susan, I'm your intuitive, and this is your reading. So let's get started with love and money. Love first. Gemini risings, there's a lot going on in the later half and the earlier halves of your charts. So just so you know, like, yes, we're all processing deep things, feelings, not just things, feelings, moments, values, our connections. And I just want you to know that yours is going to be perhaps a little more extreme. I don't want to don't take this on if this doesn't make sense to you, but Gemini risings, it's more extreme because you'll see it in a very external way through people in your life, through, anything that's been hidden will come up in ways that are perhaps seen. It's not you're seeing it through perhaps other people, but it's helpful to how it's helping you personally with a lot of things. So we're gonna get into it, but I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys if you're feeling that way before we get into the cards. So Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising for love. We have the Page of Pentacles and the Four of Swords. So here's the thing. If you don't speak up or you don't say exactly what you feel or exactly what you need, or if you don't allow yourself to progress in this specific way and allow yourself to feel like a beginner, you're one of the signs that the more that you begin things, and not that you should just do all these things in a way that's unhealthy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's good for you to be a beginner, to be a student, that even if you have mastered something, even if you're a teacher, no matter what, being a student for you is really important because it adds value to the way that you speak in your relationship. So basically what I'm saying, that in love right now, whether you're single or with someone, learning something new and approaching it in a way of your relationship will allow you to feel maybe lighter, maybe freer at this time. If you feel like you're a little immature in this way, great. That's where you begin. That's where the lesson is for you to understand that you need to allow yourself to do that, because speaking up is going to reveal something. This is very interesting, and I will say this one is for Gemini risings and relates to what I was saying before. This may feel uncomfortable, but once you say something, even if you don't continue to hold that value, right? You may even notice in the moment when you're speaking up for something, you realize I actually don't value that. And all of a sudden, or what's been building up to this moment, the Four of Swords is saying you've been able to surrender to that process, that it's okay to know and not know, know and not know. And in this moment of love, it's you being able to say how you feel, not so that it's set in stone, because something that fire and water signs know better is that they move through emotions. Once as they mature, and if they, if they're able to grow and they choose to grow, they move through emotions it's just normal. For earth and air signs, it's a little different, and this one is mental. So your mentality is really important. And even if speaking up is just to release something, and then you realize oh, that's actually, I'm saying that because I'm shifting, depending on wherever you've been stuck in your trauma, if you have trauma, or stuck in ways in your mind, the more that you just start to release or acknowledge in ways in which you don't feel valued, or you don't feel secure, or insecurities, you don't feel ... that relates to your connection, to your love, whether you're single or partnered, the more that your body will feel relaxed. And because it feels relaxed enough, this Four of Swords is saying you're not stuck. You're not. It's being stuck in is an illusion, right? feeling stuck and being stuck is an illusion, because you can feel that way, but life is continuously, if you just take a look back, anyone who feels stuck, life is continuously giving you the opportunity to recognize that and to address it. And now that Mars has gone into your third house of communication, and it came from your house of self-worth, I'm just keeping it simple, it's time for that to happen. So this may not just be in love, this may be addressing your relationships, because that actually connects to love. It connects to how you're dating. It connects to how you're connecting in your relationship. And you need to allow yourself to connect deeper to your mind, to your mentality. Maybe you didn't see what you see now, Four of Swords. Maybe this place and releasing through communication is giving you this ability, because the third house is ruled by you, but in your chart it's ruled by the sun. So no matter how it comes out, positive or negatively, doesn't matter. It needs to come out. Because Mars, especially if you didn't allow or didn't know how to process, or you're just processing now from Mars in Cancer, great. It's time for you to do that. It's time for you to allow yourself this freedom in your brain. Jupiter will move out of your signs, just soon enough. This is just a great time to do that, because what it does is it does add value. Mercury went into Aries last week, but this is also about that second house of skills and talents, your own personal resources. This may not speaking up. So it's so interesting that sometimes, like in love, if there's an issue going on, you can look directly at your work or money, wherever you're receiving money, even if that's from yourself, like you have your own business is what I'm saying. You can look directly at that to see how it's in balance. So for some people, I've noticed this. So there are some people who are so good at stating their needs and setting their boundaries at work, but when they come home to their partner or when they're dating, they throw everything out the window, and vice versa. That you can just say and, do everything and say everything and be centered with a partner, but at work, everything goes out the window. So because we had that access of Aries and Libra, now we're really now we're noticing, like we're not just in the mix and the change of it all. We're in the time where we take what we've learned and we move it forward. Mercury is in Aries right now. That would be your 11th house. So you might see it in your community, or you might in your grander community, like whatever that means, right? It could consist of the people closest to you, but it might not. But it's also is playing off your good fortune. So you have the opportunity to shift this now, even if it comes through in a very uncomfortable lesson. If it's during this time where Mercury is in Aries, it could be with a Sagittarius for some of you. Your 7th house is Sagittarius, so could be. And you will realize that where you've been deceiving yourself, and where this person, whether intentionally or not, has been deceiving you, sharpening your skills of knowing and understanding, while also Magician being Mercury is the nervous system, letting your nervous system process. Mercury rules your sign. Allowing that processing to happen, that's what that Four of Swords is. That no matter how this comes out, no matter what happens, Mars and Leo can be catty, and if you haven't addressed some things and you didn't allow yourself to do it during the heavier moment in Cancer, then it will be addressed now. But you know what? You're up for the task. You're up. It looks like here is that it's time, bottom of the deck, for this to be buried and put to rest, and buried and moved on from, and realize that you can gain so much. Oh, here you are. You can gain so much insight from this. You have so much to learn from this, and it could be through a Virgo who helps you see. But I do think this is more about how your skills, how that sharpens your ability to communicate in terms of love. and how you're ending a cycle, a huge cycle. Huge. That will give you so much insight to what love looks like. Another card of like divine sent information, whether it's hurtful or not. It looks like, I'm saying that because it looks like there might be some hurt here. You have a big decision, you'll have a big decision to make. And it feels big because there's been a lot of effort and there's been a lot of time. Everyone and anyone I know, when you put time into something, at first our ego takes that hit, but then you realize that it doesn't matter because you would have learned it anyways with anyone else. And it's possible that this Virgo really helps you see that, or when you really feel that nervous system shift, you're able to see like the more divine message here, especially if you're in a partnership and they wronged you in some way. Especially if you're single and you're doing your best to communicate, and then you get stuck and you feel like you want to give up. Great, give up. Give up the way you've been doing it. Try it in a different way. See what you've needed to see so that you can free yourself, so that you can experience this shift. And give yourself the opportunity to reshape your identity in this way. You know, Gemini rising, this would be your first house. And it's possible, as with everyone in love, that it, you know, Virgo, Gemini risings is your fourth house. It goes back to your foundations, your parents, your caregivers, whoever that was. And we've learned that and we're learning that your mind, air signs, of course, the mind is so powerful. And Mercury being in Aries, Aries rules the head. The mind is very powerful and it wants to keep us safe. Your safety now is different than it will be, and then based off of who you're becoming right now. So being able to surrender the best that you can and constantly getting those reminders, being open to them and not upset that you didn't have them or whatever, but actually taking them in. Not just knowing it, moving on. No, like actually taking it in. The Hermit's like, Mercury's like, yeah, there's a lot going on. We can utilize a lot, but like, don't deceive yourself. Don't avoid yourself. There's no more avoiding this. You need to address it. And that's when everything changes. That's when you get to decide what you do with this information. Okay, so little extra cards for the love because, you know, that's my way of thanking you for being patient for those of you who watch. So thank you for being here. We're going to move on to money. But before we do, I'm going to take a sip and also say that if you want to check out the next part, which we'll get more into it, especially the body parts, because we have so much nervous system resetting happening with you. Aries didn't come out, but Venus is going to go direct in Aries, so that will be very helpful too. But nervous system resetting because you're finally safe enough to hear what you need to hear in order to make any shifts, changes, moves that you want to make. So all information for the second part is the first link below on Patreon. You can find, if you do subscribe, everything goes right to your email. Anything free content, paid content goes right to your email. So you can take a look there. All information to work with me one-on-one is below. I have my schedule, payment options for now, and website. That's all below. You can contact me there. I am a tarot reader, spiritual life coach, and astrologer, as we know. So you can also mix and match those sessions as well, or add, what I mean. I'm going to add more to the schedule so that you don't have to add on. You could just like book tarot and astrology, and that will be one session. So you can take a look at that there. A lot is going on, and we're in a 9-year according to numerology. So a lot of endings. We're all renewing in some kind of way. Okay, so money, Gemini. This was actually, no, it was this way. Sorry. I don't think it truly matters, but it can. So money. money and love are connected. In the second part, I weave. I try to stay on one for as long as I can, but then I'll go to the other and then I'll weave back and forth. But it really does, they very much align. And this being Venusian wave, just makes sense. So your worth, this all makes so much sense. Your worth, it's been hidden. You've been protecting yourself. You've kept yourself closed off. But if you're in your true worth, it means being vulnerable to be open. It means true worth just heals that part of you that is scared to stop being blind from what's really important, what's deeply important. Because she holds the coin, and yes, she has the money, but the worth is what holds on to it or uses it wisely. So anywhere you've been blinded to your in money, your love life will reveal that first, it looks like, and then now, and I think this has already started to happen, especially for when Venus went direct in Pisces, we began to see like where, so yes, it's still there and it's a little confusing, but not as confusing, and it's showing you where you've been, especially for those of you who are a little more psychic, heal before, most of the people in your life. The rose-colored glasses, the tints are coming off. And I think that's why we spent more time in the love life, because there's a lot more to say. You might have a lot of relationships that you need to take a look at, and you've been doing this, which is interesting. So it's like, again, yes, we all go through this. Each person has their unique cycles that they go through, which is why the birth chart is so complex and why it's so cool to like take a look at it from time to time, right? So what this is revealing to you is that when you are able to open your heart, be vulnerable about your worth and who you are, and it's possible that Taurus season is really prepping you for this. It's your Gemini risings, it's your 12th house, and allowing your nervous system to come to a place where you can accept that vulnerability, because being vulnerable, and I said this to Virgo, interestingly enough, is giving you, this is a huge theme that's happening right now that I've too been experiencing, is that being vulnerable can be scary. Of course, it can be very uncomfortable for those of us who are not able to feel that, and it depends on the place in your area, in place of your life, in the area of your life. And being a Gemini, money is something that is, my kitty just came up here, is really something you're used to, being able to use and utilize, and you see it come, you see it go. But if you do have any underlying issues with that, especially coming from your foundations, they will be brought up. And the vulnerability is being malleable. That's why it's uncomfortable, because then we're malleable, which is your immutable sign. Of course you're malleable, but if you're avoiding something, you're not being malleable. You're just avoiding and like spinning your head. And we talk about this from time to time, but it's because Mercury ruled signs need to be reminded. And it's okay. I'm just here to remind you. And I'm here to remind you of your worth, and know that wherever you're vulnerable, it's because it's asking you and saying to you, you can change now if you want. This is the time. This is the discomfort you experience in order to shift, in order to make a difference in any way in your life that you would like to make a difference. And if you don't listen, you will be made to listen. We're going to definitely pull from the bottom. Bottom's been amazing. So allowing yourself to experience yourself first, giving yourself time, or just meaning like a few hours in a week, if that's all you have, to sit and process and feel this experience, and also notice where you respond differently, and letting yourself and giving yourself the time to respond the way that you would like to now, or change or shift or move or whatever it is. Now, you can start. And you might be giving the opportunity, especially if it's a deep desire of yours, okay? Gemini moons, a lot of releasing, and you're gonna feel really good. Gemini risings, this is a map. This is a map. Yeah. All right, let's get into the second part. That link will be below. Again, information to work with me is below, and we will see you more so in Taurus season, preparing for your season. I was like, I just said that word. All right, Gemini, we'll see you next time.